Ready for a deep dive. Today we'll be exploring a fascinating book,
Okay.
The Importance of Being Interested,
Oh, interesting.
by Robin Ince.
Okay.
Now, for those who might not know,
Right.
Robin Ince is a comedian.
Uh-huh.
He's also the co-host of The Infinite Monkey Cage,
Okay.
and he's a big science enthusiast.
I see.
So in this deep dive, we're going to be uncovering why it's so important to stay curious about science,
Okay.
even if you're not a scientist yourself.
Okay.
And we're going to discover how this curiosity can really enrich our lives.
Right. I mean, I guess it's for anyone who's ever sort of looked up at the stars or thought about a ghost story and felt that tug of what if.
Yeah, absolutely.
Ince himself, he had a period where he was actually quite disillusioned with science,
Right?
but then he rediscovered that passion later on.
Yeah, and that's a journey that I think is pretty relatable for a lot of people.
It is.
Ince found physics classes in secondary school really quite dull.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until he was in his 20s
Right.
that he actually reconnected with science through a book on quantum physics.
Interesting.
So what was it about these complex topics that kind of reignited his passion?
Well, I think what's interesting is he didn't grasp the concepts immediately.
Right.
It was more the fact that he didn't know
Oh.
that made him want to learn. So it was like facing this huge, complicated universe of knowledge that really sparked his desire to learn.
Right.
And Ince argues that that's a key part of scientific thinking, embracing that doubt and skepticism.
I think that's so important, especially in our current world.
No, it's hugely relevant now.
Where we have so much misinformation.
Yeah.
And so many conspiracy theories swirling around.
Yeah, absolutely.
So how does Ince kind of navigate that landscape?
Well, he does it with humor.
Right.
And also insightful analysis.
Okay.
I mean, he actually attended a flat earth conference to try and understand the psychology behind it.
That's fascinating.
It is. And he recounts the story of a speaker who was attempting to explain away the ISS footage by saying that the astronauts were on wires, even though there were no wires visible.
Okay.
So
that's an interesting...
it's a good example of how...
A great example.
Yeah, how our own biases can actually shape how we see the world.
Yeah, and it makes me think about, the dangers of alternative medicine.
Oh, yeah.
And how, some people will reject proven treatments
Right.
in favor of these unverified methods.
Yeah.
Does Ince talk about that?
He does. He actually shares a story of a man named Sean who sadly passed away from cancer after opting for alternative therapies.
Right.
And he spoke to a man named Michael Marshall.
Okay.
And Michael Marshall noted that there's a kind of radicalization that happens where people start to believe that mainstream healthcare is a deceptive scheme.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
It's a little scary.
It's scary because obviously it has very real consequences.
It does.
Yeah. Misinformation can really be dangerous.
It can be very dangerous.
Yeah.
Well, let's switch gears a bit.
Okay.
Because Ince also talks about the challenges of communicating science effectively.
Yeah.
Especially when, evidence is changing rapidly.
Right.
And since Ince is involved with the Infinite Monkey Cage, I'm curious to hear, what insights he offers.
Well, he draws on experts like Dr. Emma Hodcroft, who studies viruses.
Okay.
And she really stresses the need for clarity and repetition in messaging.
Right.
Because it's all too easy for people to just accept the first thing they hear.
Yeah.
Even if it gets revised later on.
Yeah. And especially in today's world.
Right.
Where, we have the internet and things are,
Information is everywhere.
Information is everywhere. Constantly updating.
Yeah, it's hard.
How do we make sure that people are keeping up with it?
Well, he points to storytelling and emotional engagement as a way to sort of get people invested. He talks about Helen Chursky and her approach to communicating about climate change.
Okay.
And she really emphasizes empathy.
Okay.
And using personal narratives to connect with people.
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
Another really fascinating area that Ince explores is the perceived conflict between science and spirituality.
Yeah.
And this is something that I've always kind of wondered about. How do individuals reconcile their scientific understanding with their personal beliefs?
It's a big one.
It is.
And he does it with nuance.
Okay.
And sensitivity.
Good.
He has conversations with scientists who also have religious beliefs. And he demonstrates that these two seemingly disparate areas can coexist
within a single person.
Within a single mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you give me an example?
Yeah. So Carlos Frank, who's a cosmologist,
right.
He argues that we need both.
Okay.
We need rationality and irrationality.
Irrationality.
In life.
Okay.
And he talks about feeling a sense of awe and wonder.
During his scientific discoveries, which is a feeling that some people associate with spiritual experiences.
Absolutely.
So, it's really amazing to see
it is.
how individuals kind of navigate that complex intersection.
Yeah, and he also talks about Jocelyn Bell Burnell, who's an astrophysicist, and she talks about reconciling her Quaker faith with her work. And then he moves on to quantum physics and how that can inspire a sense of wonder or faith.
Quantum physics is such a mind-bending field.
It really is.
It challenges our understanding of reality.
Yeah.
What are some of the specific aspects?
Well, he looks at quantum entanglement. Which is where two particles become linked. Even over great distances.
Right.
So, almost like science fiction.
Almost like science fiction, yeah.
How does he tie that to?
Well, he talks about David Baddiel's play God's Dice. Which explores that idea of quantum mechanics as being a potential object of faith.
Interesting.
And he talks about that sort of aura of glamorous mystery that surrounds it.
Yeah, it's so intriguing. You know how these scientific concepts can really spark these philosophical and even spiritual questions.
Yeah.
And then speaking of seeking meaning.
Yes.
Ince also introduces us to the Sunday Assembly.
He does.
Which is a secular gathering.
It is.
That offers a sense of community and ritual. But without religious doctrine.
Without the dogma.
Right, without the dogma.
That's such a fascinating idea.
It is.
What prompted the creation of that?
Well, he spoke with Pippa Evans, who's a co-founder. And she shared her journey from being a devout Christian to embracing a secular worldview. And she talks about the need for belonging and purpose, which often you find in religious settings.
Absolutely.
So the Sunday Assembly aims to fulfill those needs, but without requiring a belief in God.
Right. And it speaks to that universal longing for connection.
It does.
Ince then delves into the power of stories.
Yes.
In bridging the gap between science and the public.
Right.
And particularly showing the human side of scientific endeavor.
The human side.
Yeah.
And he uses the portrayal of Charles Darwin in the film Creation. Which is based on a book called Annie's Box by Randall Taines. And it looks at Darwin's struggles and emotions.
Along with the discoveries.
Alongside the discoveries.
Right. So it gives us a more complete picture.
Yeah, a more rounded.
Of his scientific journey.
Yeah, a more human picture.
Right. And that's something that I think is really important to remember.
It is.
Is that scientists.
They're people.
They're people.
Yeah.
They're not just these
detached observers.
Yeah. They have their own journeys.
They have their own lives. Yeah.
And passions that shape their work.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it humanizes the whole thing.
It really does.
He also shares this nice anecdote about Sarah Parcak, who's an archaeologist. And she actually proposed to her husband in front of ancient Egyptian statues.
That's so sweet.
It is. It's very sweet.
It's such a lovely way to kind of merge the personal with the historical.
Yeah, and it shows how human stories persist even amidst this vastness of time and space.
Of time and space, yeah.
And speaking of vastness.
Okay, here we go. He introduces this concept of big history. Championed by David Christian.
Okay, I'm intrigued. What's the...
Well, it's the idea that everything's connected from the Big Bang to the rise of life on Earth and beyond. And it allows us to kind of see the big picture and all the events that led to us being here. Yeah.
That's a pretty mind-boggling perspective.
It is a little bit mind-boggling.
So how does Ince make that?
Well, he uses a film by Patricio Guzman called Nostalgia for the Light, which is set in the Atacama Desert in Chile. And it beautifully interweaves astronomy, archaeology, and human rights all together. Yeah, and it uses the landscape as a canvas to sort of explore time and the echoes of the past.
Wow, that sounds like a really profound film.
It is.
Okay, so we've talked about the vastness of space.
We have.
But Ince doesn't stop there.
No, he doesn't.
He also challenges our perception of time.
He does.
With this concept of the block universe.
Okay, are you ready for this one?
I think so. Lay it on me.
It proposes that past, present, and future
all
exist simultaneously.
Whoa.
It rejects the idea that time is linear.
So wait a minute.
Yeah.
He's saying that the past hasn't vanished.
It's all still there.
And the future's already predetermined.
Well, think of it.
Whoa.
Less like a script.
Okay.
And more like a landscape.
Okay.
You know, he uses a great analogy from Carlos Frank.
Okay. Again.
Who says, you are your history. Okay, so every moment of our existence has equal reality.
So it's not just the present moment.
It's not just this moment.
Okay, I'm starting to wrap my head around that.
Yeah.
But what about free will? If the future's already there.
Well, that's the dilemma, isn't it?
It is.
It presents Alan Moore's view from his novel Jerusalem, where time is portrayed as a distance that we can travel through. So it's not about a fixed destiny. It's a landscape of possibilities.
Right.
And our choices influence where we go.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like that.
It's a nice way to think about it.
It is. It's a nice way to think about it.
Yeah, and he brings back Carlos Frank, who says that as we get closer to the Big Bang, the arrow of time disappears.
So it's like this state of unity where past, present, and future merge,
Yeah.
It's incredible.
It is pretty mind-blowing.
You know, science just keeps revealing this hidden tapestry of the universe.
Yeah.
You know, woven with these threads of time and causality. And amidst this grand tapestry, we're forced to confront another profound idea.
Okay.
Our cosmic insignificance.
Here we go.
Right.
The big one.
And I'll confess, the thought of being a tiny speck in this vast, indifferent universe.
It can feel a bit overwhelming.
It can feel a little overwhelming, yeah.
It can.
So how does...
Well, he recognizes that. He recognizes that anxiety. Yeah. And he talks about how, as a child, he was terrified by the concept of infinity.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he felt like he was falling into an endless abyss.
Wow. That's a powerful image.
It's scary.
Yeah.
But then he shifts the perspective, and he talks about this incredible journey of scientific discovery that's brought us to this understanding of the universe's scale.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, a century ago, people thought our galaxy was the whole universe.
It's amazing.
Now we know.
How far?
It's just one of billions.
We've come.
Yeah.
It's humbling.
It is very humbling. And he also brings in Priyamvada Natarajan, who's an astronomer.
Right.
And she reminds us that despite our smallness, we have the capacity to comprehend these vast scales and to ask these profound questions.
It's amazing.
It is.
You know, that we are...
Yeah, it's like Carl Sagan said.
We are a way.
We are a way for the universe to know itself.
For the universe to know itself.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what Ince is encouraging us to do, is to continue that journey.
Absolutely.
So to further illustrate this cosmic journey, Ince introduces this concept of the overview effect.
He does.
Which is that awe-inspiring experience that astronauts have.
When they see Earth from space.
When they see Earth from space, I've always been just fascinated.
Incredible.
By astronaut accounts of this.
It is.
You know, to see our world as this fragile sphere hanging in the void.
Yeah.
It must be...
Transformative.
Transformative, yeah.
He contrasts the quick trips of the moon landings with the much longer stays on the International Space Station.
Okay.
So astronauts are spending months observing Earth and witnessing the beauty and fragility of these ecosystems.
Right. So it's a view that transcends borders politics. It reveals Earth as this unified whole.
Our shared home.
Our shared home.
Yeah.
And what are some of the...
Well, he shares Nicole Stott's experience. Who felt very connected to Earth.
Right.
And she does these watercolors that reflect that connection.
That's amazing.
And he also talks about Helen Sharman. Who advocates for logical thinking. And informed debate. You know, her time and space fostered this sense of planetary citizenship.
Oh, wow.
And the need to cooperate.
That's amazing.
It's inspiring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's really amazing.
It is.
How space travel can have this profound impact on worldview.
It can.
And now let's venture into another age-old question that has captivated humanity.
Are we alone?
Are we alone in the universe?
The big question.
It is the big question.
Yeah.
And it's a question that really fires up my imagination.
Oh, me too.
You know?
It's exciting and terrifying.
It's exciting and a bit daunting.
Yeah.
You know, this prospect of encountering another intelligent life form.
Another intelligence.
So how does Ince tackle this?
Well, he starts with John Shepard's story.
Okay.
John Shepard dedicated his life to building homemade equipment to send signals into space.
Really?
Yeah.
To try and
connect
with aliens to a dream.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
That is incredible dedication.
A dedication to a dream.
Yeah, driven by that belief that we can't be alone.
That we can't be alone.
Yeah. And then he touches on the ancient astronaut theory.
Okay.
Which suggests that aliens visited Earth in the past.
Right. And influenced civilization.
Influenced us.
Yeah.
Right.
That's often dismissed as pseudoscience.
It is. How does Ince?
Well, he brings in Carl Sagan,
who argued that it underestimates our ancestors' resourcefulness.
Okay.
So it assumes they couldn't have done anything without alien help.
That's a good point.
It is a good point.
It is a good point.
It affirms human innovation.
It does.
Yeah.
And then he turns to the potential impact of actually discovering
extraterrestrial intelligence.
Alien life.
Alien life. And how that might affect
society and
individuals, right?
Yeah.
And what do the experts predict about?
He brings in Seth Shostak, who believes that whilst there might be shock and awe initially, we're unlikely to see widespread panic or societal collapse.
So
not like in the movies.
Not like in the movie. Okay.
Yeah.
That's good to hear.
Yeah, he thinks the long-term consequences are more significant.
Okay. What does he mean?
Well, it might change our understanding of our place in the universe.
You're right.
And our relationship with technology. It's like a cosmic...
Yeah, a cosmic Copernican revolution.
Yeah, we'd have to adopt this galactic or even universal perspective.
We'd have to rethink everything.
Instead of an Earth-centric view.
Yeah.
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah. He also highlights Tim O'Brien.
Okay.
Who has a slightly more optimistic view.
Okay.
And suggests that aliens might have higher ethical development.
Okay.
And they might be able to help us.
So we could
learn from them.
We could learn from them and create this more...
more peaceful and sustainable future.
Peaceful and sustainable future.
Yeah. That's a nice thought.
That's a nice thought.
Yeah, and Ince ends by reminding us that our human-centric biases might stop us from recognizing other forms of intelligence.
That don't fit.
That don't look like us.
Our expectations.
Yeah.
Right, so...
It's a big challenge.
It's a challenge to expand our definition of intelligence to consider life forms that operate on completely different principles.
Yeah.
Wow.
And this brings us back to Earth, where Ince calls for this reevaluation of how we relate to other species.
Right.
Yeah, and our place in the web of life.
And our place in the web of life.
Yeah.
Which is a very timely message.
Especially
given the climate crisis. Environmental crisis, yeah.
So how does he approach this?
Well, he challenges the human-centric view that puts us at the top of creation.
Right.
And he says we need to look at evolution.
Right.
And see how we're connected.
To all living things.
To all living things.
And that goes back to that idea of big history.
It does, yeah.
We're not separate from nature.
We're a part of it.
We're a part of it.
Yeah. And he talks about Jane Goodall. Whose research
chimpanzees
on chimps completely changed
how we view them.
How we view primates.
Yeah.
Yeah. She showed their complex social structures.
Right.
Tool-making abilities.
Yeah.
And their personalities.
Right. So it really blurred the line between human and animal.
It made us question the ethics of how we interact with other species.
Yeah. And then he shares the story of Peter the dolphin.
He does.
Right.
Which raises questions about animal captivity.
Oh.
And whether animals can feel complex emotions, like grief and despair.
Right. So it's prompting us to think deeply.
It is.
About these implications of our actions.
And then he shifts from the large scale to the microscopic. And looks at the wonders of biology.
Biology is fascinating.
It is.
It's like this
hidden universe.
Hidden universe.
Inside us.
Yeah. Full of these intricate mechanisms and amazing adaptations.
Yeah. And he uses Paul Nurse's experiment to illustrate this, which showed that yeast and humans
Oh, wow.
share the same mechanisms.
Really?
For cell reproduction.
That's amazing.
It is amazing.
It speaks to this fundamental unity.
It does.
Of life at the molecular level.
It really does.
You know, that...
Yeah, it shows that...
The same processes that are governing our cells are also applying
yeast
to organisms as different as yeast.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
And he highlights how that process has been conserved.
Over billions of years.
Over billions of years of evolution.
And amazing.
It's a testament to natural selection.
Yeah.
It's mind-blowing.
It's incredible. And he also brings in Steve Jones, who said, life's a mess.
Life's a mess.
Yeah. And he emphasizes that the beauty of life is in its complexity and unpredictability.
So instead of trying to control nature... we should embrace
the chaos.
The chaos.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
And now we turn inwards to the most complex object.
The human brain.
In the known universe.
The human brain.
The human brain.
It's a mystery.
It is a mystery.
Yeah.
You know, it's a source of endless
fascination.
Fascination and mystery.
Yeah.
How does Ince approach this vast subject?
With humor.
Okay, good.
He uses examples from The Simpsons.
Oh, The Simpsons.
Okay.
To show the different facets of our minds.
Right, and The Simpsons is such a...
It's a great choice. He uses examples from The Simpsons.
To illustrate.
To illustrate.
You know all the different parts of our minds.
The inner conflicts, the competing desires, and the absurd thought processes.
It's brilliant.
It is funny.
Because it's a show that...
It's perfect.
Often satirizes...
Yeah, it does.
Complexities of human psychology.
Yeah, and then he looks at consciousness.
Okay.
And he draws on the work of Adrian Owen, who studied brain activity in vegetative patients.
And that research was groundbreaking.
Groundbreaking.
It really challenged our understanding
of consciousness.
Yeah,
and it poses these questions about
defining awareness.
Defining awareness, right? And
where do we measure it?
And how do we measure it?
Yeah. And he really focuses on
Owen's
pragmatic approach. Which is to compare the inner worlds of different organisms to assess consciousness.
So consciousness isn't just...
It's not on or off. It's more like a spectrum of awareness.
With different degrees of
complexity.
Across...
Yeah, across the animal kingdom.
Yeah. Okay, that's really fascinating.
It is.
Yeah.
And then we move from consciousness to memory.
Okay.
Which is a very slippery,
it is.
Unreliable faculty that shapes our personal stories.
Right, and our understanding of the past. Right.
Yeah, so how does Ince deal with this?
How does he approach this?
Well, he talks about Elizabeth Loftus and her research on false memories.
And that's some captivating but kind of unsettling research.
It is.
Makes you really question.
Yeah, the whole nature of truth.
The nature of truth.
Yeah, he talks about imagination inflation.
Imagination inflation.
Which is where simply imagining something makes you more confident that it occurred.
Really?
Yeah.
That's wild.
It's crazy, isn't it?
It is.
It means our memories aren't accurate.
Right. They're just these narratives. Shaped by
imagination
and bias. And he also talks about the implications for legal cases.
He does.
Right, because if memory can be so easily distorted.
It can.
Then
eyewitness
accounts are
not always reliable.
No. So it's a real
like cautionary tale.
About human memory.
The fallibility of memory.
And from memory, we go into the world of perception.
You do.
And Ince really starts to challenge
it does.
Our assumptions about the nature of reality.
Yeah.
What does he mean by suggesting that?
Well, he looks at this idea of consensus reality.
Where
our understanding of the world is based on a kind of agreement about what's real.
So we're all living in this...
A shared simulation. Kind of.
A collective...
Hallucination. We call reality.
Right.
He explores the boundaries of that.
Yeah, does he give any examples?
Well, he talks about the possibility of multiple realities. Or different interpretations of the same event. So it all depends on your perspective.
So there's not really...
It makes you wonder.
An objective truth.
If there is such a thing.
It's all subjective.
It could be.
Wow.
He even brings up the holographic universe.
The holographic universe.
Where our 3D world is projection.
From a 2D surface.
From a flat surface.
So it's like reality is...
The massive
cosmic...
hologram.
Projecting information.
Encoded on some boundary.
Wow.
And he brings in Sean Carroll,
okay,
who says that location is an approximation.
What? Yeah.
So our sense of place
okay.
might not be as fundamental as we think.
Okay.
And underlying reality could be non-local.
Non-local.
And interconnected.
Wow. So it's
really... It makes you rethink everything.
It makes me rethink everything I thought I knew.
I know.
About space and time.
About existence.
And the nature of reality itself.
And that's a lot. That's the beauty of it.
It is.
That's the beauty of science.
It is.
This constant process.
Of questioning and discovering.
Yeah, of reevaluating what we think we know.
And it seems like this journey...
It never ends.
Never ends.
No.
Yeah.
And Ince finishes this section by really stressing the importance of recognizing the limits of our perceptions.
And being open to other viewpoints.
Right. So it's a reminder that
we don't have all the answers.
We don't have all the answers. And
our understanding is... always evolving.
Always evolving.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you ready?
For the big one.
For the big one.
We're going to the end.
We're going to the end.
To the fate of the universe.
Oh, this is...
Brace yourself.
This is both fascinating and terrifying.
It is.
This concept of the universe ceasing to exist.
Yeah.
Is mind-blowing.
It is.
And existentially challenging.
Existentially challenging.
So how does Ince even begin?
Well, he starts with entropy.
Entropy.
Which is this gradual decline of order and energy in the universe.
Right.
So ultimately, we reach thermodynamic equilibrium where everything is evenly spread out.
So there's no more...
No more work can be done.
Work can be done. It's just this...
It's the heat death.
Heat death of the universe.
The slow fade to nothing.
Right. Just cold, dark, and lifeless.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he looks at other possibilities as well.
Okay, like what?
Like the Big Crunch.
The Big Crunch.
Where the universe collapses in on itself.
Right.
The Big Rip.
The Big Rip.
Where the expansion just keeps accelerating.
And everything gets torn apart.
Yeah, everything gets ripped apart.
Okay.
It's pretty intense.
It's pretty intense. It's
humbling.
It's humbling to even imagine
the
end of everything.
It really puts our worries into perspective.
It does. It does.
And he talks about...
What are some of the
emotions?
Yeah, the mixed emotions.
The feels about this.
This excitement.
Okay.
But also sadness.
Right.
You know, recognizing the beauty and tragedy of this cosmic cycle.
Of creation and destruction.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is a poignant reminder that even the universe is finite.
Yeah, even the universe will end.
Everything we know and love will eventually...
It will cease to exist.
Cease to exist.
Yeah. He brings in Katie Mack.
Who thinks the most likely scenario is a slow fade to black?
A slow fade to black.
Yeah, the universe just keeps expanding.
Right.
And cooling.
Until all the stars die out.
Yeah. And we're left with...
an empty universe.
A vast emptiness.
It's a bleak picture.
It's a bit bleak.
The universe devoid...
of light.
Light and life.
And life, yeah. Just a cosmic graveyard.
Wow.
And then he looks at Josh Hawley.
Okay.
And Hawley's existential anxieties.
Right. About...
meaning...
Right. If everything ends...
What's the point?
What's the point?
Of anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, the universe has no purpose or direction.
That age-old question.
It is.
What is the meaning of life?
If it all just ends.
If it all just ends.
Yeah.
And does Ince offer an answer?
Well, he doesn't give us any easy answers. He encourages us to face these questions with a sense of wonder and an openness to the unknown.
So it's more about the...
It's about the journey.
Journey than the destination.
Yeah, it's a personal search for meaning.
Right.
Yeah.
We can find purpose in our own lives.
Even in the face of cosmic insignificance.
In the face of cosmic insignificance. Well, I like that.
Yeah, so given that cosmic inevitability, he comes back to the core of his book, which is that we need to nurture curiosity as a source of joy and purpose and a deeper appreciation.
So curiosity is an antidote to despair.
It is.
Keeps us moving forward.
It keeps us going.
Even in the face of...
Yeah, even when the universe is vast.
Vast.
And it's all going to end.
And it's all going to end.
Yeah.
And what else does he?
Well, he brings in Alam Shaha.
Okay.
Who finds wonder in science.
Okay.
And how it connects to storytelling.
Right, because stories help us.
They help us.
Connect with these complex ideas.
Yeah, they make sense of the world.
They make sense of the world.
Yeah, we find meaning.
Amidst the chaos.
Amidst the chaos, through narrative.
Through narratives.
And Ince emphasizes the importance of encouraging curiosity.
In education.
In education.
So it's not just about
It's not about the practical stuff.
The practical applications of science.
Yeah.
It's about
fostering
a sense of wonder.
a sense of wonder and exploration.
Yeah, in young minds.
Right. It's about nourishing.
Yeah, that innate desire
to understand
how
things work,
to
marvel at the mysteries of the universe,
yeah.
and to never stop questioning. And that brings us to the concluding message.
To the call to action
of Ince's book.
Yeah, to embrace lifelong learning.
To
seek out what interests us.
Right.
And never stop exploring.
Regardless
of who we are.
of our background or expertise.
Exactly.
It's a really empowering message.
It is.
He's reminding us that we can
all be explorers.
be explorers.
Yeah.
Right.
We can uncover hidden truths.
And we can find meaning.
In
the pursuit of knowledge.
It's a wonderful thought.
It is.
It's about embracing the unknown.
Right.
Challenging our assumptions.
And holding on to that
childlike sense of wonder. Yeah.
That fuels that desire to understand the universe and our place in it.
All.
And that really beautifully encapsulates the essence of the importance of being interested.
It does. It's a journey through
science.
Science, skepticism, spirituality.
The human condition.
The whole human condition.
Yeah.
And it reminds us that knowledge isn't just about facts.
Right.
It's about
embracing
the beauty and
mystery of existence.
Yeah.
It sounds like a book.
I think it's a book.
That would really spark our listeners' curiosity.
I think so.
Challenge their assumptions.
And leave them
with this renewed sense of awe and wonder. About the universe.
And our place in it.
Yeah. And on that note,
okay,
I think we should pause our deep dive here.
Okay.
And in the final part,
okay,
we'll wrap up.
We'll wrap it all up.
And share 10 key insights.
I like it.
As we wrap up our exploration of Robin Ince's The Importance of Being Interested, let's distill some key takeaways from this thought-provoking journey through science, skepticism, and the human experience.
I'm all ears. What emerges as the most crucial messages from Ince's exploration?
Well, first and foremost, the book really underscores the profound power of curiosity.
Okay.
As this driving force for discovery and as a source of meaning in our lives.
Right.
He reminds us that nurturing a sense of wonder about the world, even if it leads to more questions than answers, is essential for personal growth and intellectual fulfillment.
It's not just about accumulating knowledge.
No.
But about embracing the unknown.
Exactly.
And finding that genuine joy in exploration.
Absolutely.
What else stands out?
Well, the book also really stresses the importance of critical thinking.
Right.
And skepticism, particularly in this age of information overload.
Yeah.
Ince urges us to question everything. Even the things that seem obvious.
Okay.
To rigorously evaluate evidence and be wary of simplistic explanations, especially when it comes to things like misinformation and conspiracy theories.
So it's a call to be discerning?
It is.
To think critically for ourselves?
Yes.
And not just accept everything we see or hear?
And to be wary of anyone who claims to have all the answers.
And especially without evidence.
Without evidence, exactly.
That's so important.
It is.
Now, another thing that Ince highlights is the interconnectedness of everything.
Yes. This idea that everything's linked.
From the cosmic to the microscopic.
From the vast expanse of the block universe. To the intricate workings of ourselves.
It's mind-boggling.
It is. And it really fosters this sense of humility. Humility, but also awe. It reminds us that we're part of something much bigger than ourselves.
We are. But amidst all of this, how does Ince address the human search for meaning?
Well, he acknowledges that deep human desire for meaning and purpose. Especially when faced with a universe that can often seem indifferent to our existence.
It can.
He doesn't offer any easy answers.
No, I imagine not.
But he encourages us to confront these big questions with courage, with curiosity, and an openness to the mystery of it all.
Okay, so again, it's more about the journey.
It is about the journey.
Not necessarily the destination.
Exactly.
We can find meaning.
We can.
In our own unique experiences.
Even in a vast and indifferent universe. Yeah.
What a powerful message.
It is. Now, another crucial point that Ince makes is that science isn't just about cold, hard facts.
Right.
It's a human endeavor.
It is.
Fueled by passion, by curiosity.
By this deep desire to understand the world around us.
And he really brings that to life through the stories.
He does.
To the scientists.
The scientists are struggles.
Right, their triumphs, their moments of awe.
Their moments of awe, their eureka moments.
Right, it shows that human element.
It humanizes the whole scientific process.
It reminds us that science is about people.
Absolutely.
And their journeys.
It's not just formulas and equations.
It's about their passion for knowledge.
Exactly.
Well, as we reach the end of our deep dive
Yes.
into the importance of being interested,
what are you left with?
I'm left with a renewed appreciation for the power of curiosity.
Good.
The importance of critical thinking.
Yes.
The interconnectedness of all things. That deep human quest for meaning.
Yes.
And the inspiring spirit that drives scientific exploration.
Wonderful.
It makes me want to keep exploring.
Keep asking questions.
And never lose that sense of wonder.
Exactly. Robin Ince reminds us that the universe is full of mysteries.
And it's our privilege and responsibility to unravel them.
It is. So as promised,
okay,
let's recap 10 key insights.
10 key insights from our deep dive into the importance of being interested.
I'm ready.
Number 1, rekindle your childlike wonder.
Okay.
Science isn't just for scientists.
Right.
It's for anyone who's ever looked up at the stars and felt that spark of curiosity.
Makes sense. Number 2.
Embrace doubt and skepticism.
Okay.
Question everything, even the seemingly obvious. Good science is all about questioning and adapting.
I like it. Number 3.
Be mindful of misinformation.
Yes.
In this age of information overload, critical thinking is essential.
Absolutely. Number 4.
Recognize the power of communication.
Okay.
Science isn't just about doing research, it's also about sharing those findings effectively and engagingly.
And stories can really help with that.
Stories and emotional connection are crucial for bridging the gap between the scientific community and the public.
Okay, that's an important one. What's next?
Number 5, science and spirituality can coexist.
Right.
Seeking knowledge and seeking meaning don't have to be at odds with each other.
I agree. Number 6.
Explore the mind-bending world of quantum physics.
Oh, yes.
Even if you don't understand all the complexities, it can spark profound philosophical and spiritual questions.
That it can. Number 7.
Find meaning in a secular world.
Okay.
Communities like the Sunday Assembly show us that it's possible to find connection and purpose without religious doctrine.
That's good to know. Number 8.
Remember the vastness of time and space.
Okay.
Embrace concepts like big history to see the grand sweep of events from the Big Bang to the present day.
What a perspective. Number 9.
Acknowledge our cosmic insignificance.
Right.
While it can be humbling, it can also be liberating, freeing us to appreciate the beauty and wonder of existence without the weight of self-importance.
And last but not least, number 10.
Never stop exploring. Nurture your curiosity. Embrace lifelong learning, and engage with the world around you with a sense of wonder.
Beautiful.
That's the essence of the importance of being interested.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the importance of being interested. We hope you've gained some valuable insights and a renewed appreciation for the power of curiosity.
Keep exploring.
Keep questioning.
And keep that spark of wonder alive.
Until next time.